Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Above the Bar podcast, where each week we belly up to the bar with a new guest, find out what they do, who they are, and what makes them great. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. Alrighty, folks, welcome back to the Above the Bar podcast. It's your host, Sean. We're bellying up to the bar today with the soul behind health for. My tongue got tied around my eye teeth and I couldn't see what I was saying there for a moment. Let's try this one more time and see if I don't jack this up this time. We are here today with the soul behind hopefornaturalhealth.com, the Beth behind Elizabeth McCoy Inspires on Facebook. We have with us the inspiring, the all-inspiring Miss Beth McCoy. Hi, Beth.
Hi, Sean. Thank you for having me on. How are you doing this evening?
Absolutely stupendous as always. And we do such a good job of trying to make this sound as natural as possible. Not that you and I haven't been talking for the last 10 minutes going over things, but we do a pretty good job trying to make it sound natural.
Yeah.
Yep. So we're going to get ready to get started here, folks. Beth and I are going to be talking about her holistic medicine, her inspirational story, getting into some different things. If you're out there joining us for the first time, make sure you give it all a like, follow, share, whatever platform you're checking us out on. First things first, over my right shoulder, we got the big board for sticker and a cause. If you've got some cause that you believe in, something that you're supporting, don't care what it is, you've got your thing. Make sure you turn around and you reach out to us. And you can contact me on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch. Even our email is Above the Bar Podcast. Our Instagram is the Above the Bar Podcast. And our TikTok is the Above the Bar Podcast. And you tell me what you got. I'll give you the address. You send me a sticker. We put it on the big board here. And you get some free advertising. Same thing with if your media, maybe your media is not quite inspired. You need to inspire your media to be better. Make sure you reach out to Media by Dibs. That's DIBS, Media by Dibs. You can find Dibs on Facebook. You can find him on Instagram. And his LinkedIn is Andrew Dibble. Make sure you reach out to him. And if you tell him that you're willing to belly up to the bar, he's going to give you a 10% discount off your first order. And he's going to turn around and give you a free consultation. That's Media by Dibs. And for those of you that are already joining us here, who we already got joining us, we already got some comments here. Brendan, who I met through TikTok, make sure you go find Brendan Tax, Takacs. Give him a follow on TikTok. He says, let's go. And we've already got Nathan over here. Food needs to be the main Nate, food is always at the heart of everything we do around here. But the main topic is going to be Beth. So how are you, Miss Beth?
I'm doing wonderful. How are you?
Any better, it would probably be illegal.
Yes. Are you all ready for Thanksgiving?
We are ready. I was going to ask you, before we got too far into this, if you had any, with this being Thanksgiving Eve, if you had any Thanksgiving traditions that you need to make sure that you get out there for everybody, that everybody should be doing. Yep. Did we lose you there, Miss Beth? Oh,
yes. Evidently, my Do Not Disturb, since my iPhone updated, is not working properly. So.
Oh, you got it. Oh, is that so? If we lose you for a moment, we'll wait till you come back. So,
thank you.
And Kristen Mann is here. Kristen says, so excited about this episode. Can't wait to hear from Beth. There you go. We love Kristen. She is as motivated as they come. So do you have a tradition that like you would love for other people to know about? Maybe something that can inspire them.
Just always getting with family and celebrating Thanksgiving, giving thanks for what we have and everything we've been blessed with over the year. I always make my corn casserole, speaking of food. So
I like a good corn casserole. We started last year we started this brining our turkey and then smoking it. Okay. And if you've never had smoked turkey like that, it's amazing flavor, but it's 30 minutes per pound. And for a 20-pound bird, you can do the math. That's a 10-hour expedition to get that thing taken care of. Now, you kind of feed into what you do, and kind of, I wanted to talk more first about, your inspirational story. And if you're willing to share the story here, we would all love to hear the whole story, but maybe even just enough for folks to go find you at Elizabeth. Gosh, I'm put my banners up at Elizabeth McCoy Inspires on Facebook, and they can find you there. But our pastor at our church just recently was talking, instead of doing the traditional where everybody goes around and says, oh, let's give thanks for this, let's give thanks for that. He said, how about everybody says where they saw God this year, or what they saw happen this year that made them think like, hey, I'm in that presence. What do you think about that?
That sounds amazing. I'm very blessed that over the last 22 years that God has been number one in my life. I wouldn't be here today if it was not for his constant presence and being able to help keep me going, help to give me the strength I need to face all the challenges that I've had to face.
Well, you've got a pretty inspiring story. That's where the Elizabeth McCoy Inspires comes from. What is that story?
I was born and raised in a small town in southeast Kansas. I was talented. I was very popular. I had been singing since the age of 7, taking voice lessons. My voice teacher had actually got it set up for me to be in a recording studio the
Wow.
spring of my 8th grade year to cut a demo tape. I had plans and everything moving forward for me to move to Nashville to pursue my singing once I graduated high school. I had gifts and talents. Many people that wouldn't see me at the age of 7 and 8 singing on the stage, they would hear my voice and look around and be like, wow, that voice is coming out of that little girl. How is that possible? That was how talented I was. Then, one week into my freshman year of high school, my life was completely turned upside down. I was severely injured in a car accident. We were struck from behind and we barrel rolled multiple times. I was in the back seat. With every barrel roll, my head was at the point of impact. I suffered a traumatic brain injury that affected me like a stroke. I
Wow.
had to be life flighted to the nearest trauma center an hour and a half away by car. The doctors were honest with my parents and my brother and sister-in-law and basically said the first 48 to 72 hours are very critical, and the small chance that she makes it after that 72-hour mark, her chances will increase. But there's no promises. Right now, it's not looking good.
And this is what was told to your family after the accident. And you were how old at that point? Eighth grade, you said? So what, 13, 12, 13?
I was 14. It was one week into my freshman year of high school.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So going from that popular girl who has her whole life set, making my dreams come true, everyone believing in my ability to do what I was seeking, um, my life was easy. I had not a care in the world. And then this happened and everything stopped.
Wow. Now you talked just a moment ago about, how important, faith has been in your life. With a situation like that, how do you keep faith?
I had always gone to church every Sunday before the accident. But and I had gone through confirmation my 8th grade year, but I honestly did not know God to the extent that I knew him after the accident, before the accident.
What do you mean by that?
Well, I just I got a lot closer to God after the accident. He was my rock. Um, he kept me going. He was my strength. He was my confidence. Um, and he still is. Uh, it wasn't always easy to keep the faith. When I came out of my coma after 3 weeks, I basically had to relearn to walk. It was 43 days before I was speaking. Um,
How many days?
43. I had a ventilator in for over 2 weeks, so my vocal cords were very weak. My parents were very concerned that I wasn't going to speak again, and that was very important. So, once I had come out of my coma and was more out of the woods, more stable, they actually scoped my vocal cords because my parents were very concerned that they were damaged from the ventilator.
And I mean, I guess, thinking about it as a parent, your life was singing, that's what you did. That's what you were
That's who
involved
I
in,
was.
that was, like you said, that's who you are. I can think of as a parent, they've got to be thinking like, man, will this passion ever still be there? I am curious. And do you still sing?
Yes. Actually, after the accident, I did have physical deficits. Once my voice got stronger and got to where it wouldn't cut out mid-sentence, and I was able to talk full sentences. My voice teacher, who had stopped giving voice lessons, called my mom up once I was home and said, "Hey, I know y'all are back home. Once y'all get in a place where you would like to start up voice lessons again, I want to work with Beth. I want to help her to get her singing voice back."
That's so awesome.
So I did continue to sing. Now my neck muscles were affected in the car accident, so I lost my natural vibrato. Um, Singing was not as effortless. I was no longer the high soprano that could just really belt it out like I was before, but I still was very talented. And when I was singing on the stage, that's when I felt like I was my old self and that people didn't judge me for the way I looked
They
because
didn't see it.
they saw something that I was talented at and good at. So that's
They
all they saw.
That's awesome. So I imagine that helped get your self-confidence back in the healing process, because I've never experienced, the closest I've ever experienced, I tore an ACL. It's nothing even comparable. And I'm not trying to say that, but I know that I saw people look at me like, he's on crutches. Let me help the door. After such a major thing, the eyeballs were on you. And you're saying small town in Kansas, everyone knew.
Yeah, everyone knew. And the hardest thing coming back, being in school, and people who didn't know, they would see my arm pulled up because I had increased muscle tone. I wasn't able to extend it. I wasn't able to open my hand for years. They would see something physically wrong with me, and they would decide that, oh, there's something wrong with her. She's not worth my time. And that hurt. That hurt because they would judge me for my appearance and not get to know the person I was on the inside, the beautiful person that I was on the inside.
That the saying always has been, children are the cruelest. And I think that's always been a saying, but I think as kids, we don't know we're being cruel.
Right.
We
And
just,
it wasn't always kids. It was kids, it was adults, it was anybody and everybody. I got it from I felt like I just my life was over. My life was over. There were so many times that I would come home from school and tell my parents that I should have died in that car accident. I wish I was dead. Everything would be better if I died. It
well,
would be easier on everyone.
Elizabeth, I need you to inspire somebody who's important to me. Can you inspire him to show up on time and not wait like 15 minutes into the show to show up. This is Dibs, Beth. This is Dibs.
I
I
did.
swear
Listen to him. He's
the
dying.
pre-Kers are trying to kill me, man.
He's a substitute school teacher and a Marine like myself. Spends all these years in the Marine Corps and gets his ass kicked by pre-K kids. Look at him.
They got
He's
me.
He's got the pre-K crud. I can hear it in
got
his
me.
voice.
Oh yeah.
So,
no, it's
hi, Dibs.
Hi, Sean. Hi, Beth.
Hello.
So now moving forward, like for you to reach the point, already, Nate says there's no hope for Dibs.
There isn't.
So how long, and this is such a weird, as we've grown as a society, as we've expanded our minds as a society to understand people's, disabilities after accidents, things like this happening, as we've grown in that, I hate to use the word normal or regular because it seems like inappropriate and not paying attention to what somebody's experienced. But for yourself to get back to what you would consider as a good routine for yourself, what did that take from timeline wise? I can't even imagine what the physical stresses were, but what did it take timeline wise to get there?
Well, I was discharged after I came out of my coma. 1 month, I was discharged from the trauma center to an inpatient rehab unit where I remained for 2.5 weeks. It was 49 days until I got to go home my first weekend and actually sleep in my own bed. But my rehab was not over at that point because I was still walking with a walker. I was still very weak, needed a wheelchair for long distance. So my mom and I were going to I was going to start a day outpatient therapy program that would give me the occupational therapy, physical therapy that I needed, the intense stuff for 3 to 4 hours a day for another 6.5 weeks. So I was home for 1 weekend after 2.5 weeks of inpatient rehab. And I got to go to my first high school football game, being a freshman, but I was sitting in the wheelchair on the sidelines. And then we went back up to Kansas City, Missouri for me to start the day program. We lived in the Ronald McDonald House Monday through Friday. Got to come home every weekend for 6.5 weeks because I needed to get to where I wasn't using a walker. My balance needed to improve so that I wouldn't be bumped in the hallway by high schoolers and be knocked down and risk getting hurt. So the accident happened on August 26th. I didn't make it back to school half days until after Thanksgiving.
Wow. Beth, I know I gave you cheers when you first came on. Everybody gets cheers except for Dibs. Right there you go, Dibs. Glad you made it.
All right.
I love you. But for that story alone, like that's incredible. That's just so inspiring. So as you've moved forward and I don't want to take from that, but you now have the hope for natural health. Was that something that you started, the holistic, the more natural medicines? Did you start that back then after the accident? Like your mom was like, hey, we can, rub some rutabaga on the bottom of your feet or something like that?
No, actually, I graduated high school, went on to college. What got me through high school, which was the hardest, most difficult thing that I ever had to face, more difficult than all of the rehab and relearning to walk, was the high school experience. God was always the voice in my heart saying, I have a plan for you, keep going. So what got me through high school was every night going to bed with a thankful and grateful heart. praying to him, thanking him for my life, thanking him for my blessings, and asking him to lead me. I did that every night, no matter what had happened that day. Even if I had come home saying that I should have died, I wish I was dead. God was always there for me to open a door to a new opportunity. I got through college, changing my major 4 times before finally graduating with my degree in occupational therapy.
So you had a normal college experience, changed it 4 times, couldn't decide what you wanted to be when you grew up.
Yeah.
I'm still doing that.
Yeah, I would say Dibs and I are still doing that. I know if I figured out.
So, got through college. When I first started as an occupational therapist, I was working on a subacute rehab unit. I would walk into a patient's room that had suffered a stroke, and the first thing they would tell me was that they could do this. There was no way that they were going to be able to get through this. And I could sit across from them, tell them my story, and then on the day I would discharge them home, they would give me a hug and they said, "Thank you. I couldn't have gotten through this without you."
That's so awesome.
Yep.
Beth, you're awesome. Would you got something there, Dibs? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to stop.
No, I would say I was agreeing with you. It's awesome. Like, I mean, obviously being in the military, we see stuff, and then even in skydiving, I see a lot of stuff. I had a good friend take his own life because he didn't have someone like you, Beth, where he felt like he broke his hip skydiving, and they basically told him he'd never be able to walk again, and it just ate away at him. And I think that need for that support is definitely there, because it is hard. I mean, when I broke my entire right side doing it, and it's just to have that support there to tell you that you can get is incredibly important.
Brendan, thanks.
Thank you, Brendan. I believe with all my heart that all of us have a purpose. And my purpose right now is to be able to share my story and help those who do feel lost, feel like there is no hope, and they just cannot keep going. I'm here to encourage them and inspire them. Keep going. Pray. Ask God for guidance. As long as you're faithful to Him and you faithfully pray, He's going to always be faithful to you. He is the one thing that will never fail you. I promise you this, because that's exactly why I'm here. He's never failed me, and He will never fail you. But you have to believe with all your heart and know that you have deep within you what it is to make your dreams and your goals come true. You just got to dig deep and persevere and not give up.
So now what came first? Because you were telling me 2017 you started, going up and telling your story openly in churches. Was it because I'm kind of curious also where the holistic medicine comes into play with all this. And Nate's over here, and Nate, I'm imagining you're passing this to both of them. Depression gets the best of people. He's glad that you were able to overcome that. So for yourself, what came first? Was it the natural medicines for you, or was it the, going in 2017 and start talking in churches?
The speaking. So I moved to Waco, Texas after working in a small subacute rehab unit in eastern Kansas for 3.5 years. When I moved to Waco, God opened the door to a Celebrate Recovery program. While I don't have any drug and alcohol abuse issues or anything like that, I was depressed. I did want to end it many times throughout high school. I just knew it would be better. So I knew that my story could help others. I worked the 12 steps. I started sharing my story and Celebrate Recovery. And so many times after giving my testimony on a stage, someone would come up to me after it and say, "Beth, I wasn't going to come tonight, but something was telling me that I needed to be here. I know now that was God. I needed to hear your story. Thank you." That just reassured me that I'm right where I need to be doing exactly what I need to be doing.
And that's such a big thing too. Like, funny enough, I actually just did a logo. The VFW out here, their chaplain is opening something called the VRC. It's a Veteran Resource Center, which is faith-based recovery, and that's exactly kind of talking exactly what you just talked about. So, I mean, that's a huge thing, especially because I'm sure Sean can testify to it too. Like, veterans can be from the veteran side, can be super confused as to, did they lose faith? Like, did God give up on them? Did the government they get really confused. So to have those resource centers out there and to have that faith-based recovery for a lot of people is huge.
Well, yeah. It brings up a great point. In through all this, and I'm really, you said it, coming home and saying, hey, I wish I would have died. I should have died during this, telling your parents that, experiences with all these other, people in your life. And I feel like I asked this a moment ago, but I'm going back to it maybe. Like, how did you keep that faith? How did you, I feel like it would have been so much easier to say, the old, God, why have you forsaken me? To go back to that biblical line, but how do you do it?
Because I remembered how I felt the first time that I heard his voice deep in my heart saying, don't stop. I have a plan for you. You have to keep going. I didn't always hear his voice after that, but I could remember how I felt that first time that I heard and felt that voice deep in my heart. So I want you, if you're struggling right now, if there's a time that God has opened a door for you to a new opportunity to help you to move one step closer to keeping going and not giving up, I want you to remember just exactly how you felt in that moment. And that's going to be what's going to help power you through whatever challenges and struggles you're going to continue to face.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
So how do we get to, and for folks, if you're listening to this, you're just logging in, we're talking to Beth McCoy. We're talking about her journey after a tragic accident freshman year in high school that has inspired Beth McCoy Inspires, which you can find her on Facebook under that. You can also find her for hopefornaturalhealth.com. Also on Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn. It's all Hope for Natural Health. You can find her in those locations. Also, you did a little live. I noticed you did a little live just before we came on live with LinkedIn. Is that right? Were you live on LinkedIn?
It was my episode 8 of my story. It did go live on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, all of those.
And that's the Elizabeth McCoy Inspires.
Yes.
And now what is that? What is that supposed to inspire? What is that?
That's just me launching my inspirational speaking business. I know that I can help so many more people by getting up on stages and continuing to share my stories, talking to groups of people. I'm working on writing my book. I've always known that my plan was to be able, God's plan for my life was to be able to help others. First, by graduating as an occupational therapist. Then by me starting to get up in churches, tell my story. And God has just continued to open doors because of my constant faith and not giving up and continuing to tackle the hurdles to overcome challenges that I continue to face every day. Just because I am where I am now doesn't mean that the challenges stop. But I'm very blessed that the challenges that I've already faced and learned to overcome have given me the strength to be able to keep going and face these new challenges that come before me.
And Dibs and I apologize that you have to deal with the challenge of the two of us at the same time. we try. But so when do we? So throughout this life journey of yours, when did you get into this holistic side and the Hope for Natural Health? and that's number 4 in there, folks. That's hope number 4 naturalhealth.com. When did you get into that piece?
April of 2019.
I thought you were going to say 2020. I was going to say, well, you just were glutton for punishment, weren't you?
No, I was in Waco in April of 2019, and I came across some products that had helped a friend of mine. And so I gotta know how, I gotta know why. So I researched for 2 weeks, found out everything I needed to know, saw all the benefits of CBD oil, and decided, wow, if this helps me with half the things I'm reading about, I can truly help people. And that's just exactly what it did. I found the purest CBD oil on the market today. I was just so very blessed that God opened the door to this brand of CBD oil that has truly given me my life back, helped me with so many things that I never thought I would ever see any kind of relief from.
Now, we see it all the time. So many states legalizing THC, legalizing recreational. I think there was another one off of this ballot that legalizes something like 26 states, but CBD is legal everywhere. Like I don't think any state have it as illegal.
CBD oil from hemp was federally legal everywhere years ago before, and each state had their own regulations. Then I believe it was a year and a half or 2 years ago, every state has now legalized it, as long as it comes from hemp.
Now for you, what has it allowed you to now, and this is just for you, and just so folks understand, this is Beth's story. This isn't everybody's story. This isn't how everybody's going to react to it. It's no different than anything else you take,
I'm going to start out by doing my little disclaimer. CBD oil does not cure, treat, diagnose any disease or illness. It just helps to promote better health. Well, within 3 days of being on this oil, I was sleeping better than I had the previous 19 years. It never failed. I was lucky to get 2 to 3 hours of halfway decent sleep. Never waking up with energy. A lot of times I didn't want to drag myself out of bed. And within 3 days of taking this, I felt so much better. I was waking up with energy. My mood was improved. I just had a new lease on life.
Brendan was beating us to the punch. He wanted to know what other things that it helped with. So is it anything, because Dibbs and I, we've talked about this. We're both, from things we've experienced in our time in service, you end up, they just pump you full of stuff. Like the running joke for years where we would take vitamin M, which is Motrin, and your left arm could fall off and the doc would be like, take 2 Motrins, it'll grow right back. Don't worry about it.
Motrin and water and change your socks. You'll be all right.
Yes, there you go. Motrin, water, and change your you'll be fine. It's like when my kids have a bellyache and I'm like, did you poop lately? And my kids are like, Dad, why do you always ask it? I'm just saying. It's toxins in your body. I'm just saying.
My mom's was, sir, no blood. You can't see a bone. You're not allowed. You're good.
You're fine. You're good.
Keep
Don't
going.
worry. So for you, Beth, is there anything that you can, for you, and I know I keep saying that because I don't want anybody to be like, Murph said I could take this and my toes.
Oh, I'm already holding you accountable. I've already got the lawsuit typed up.
You can hold me accountable. That shit's going to kangaroo court and it's not going to do you any good. Because now I have it recorded that you already said it. So we're good. Don't worry about it. Ha-ha. But is there anything that you were able to stop taking from a prescription or over the counter standpoint that you were like, hey, this particular product, I no longer have to use something else?
I honestly, I can't say that.
Okay.
But I have had 4 foot surgeries on my left foot, known when the weather was changing for over 15 years, a lot of discomfort. At the age of 16, 17, I feel like an 80-year-old. So
you're like your own meteorologist, huh?
yeah, exactly. It's like, wow, I've known when the weather is changing for 15 plus years.
Hey, Beth,
That was one of the things that stopped with the use of the relief cream and the CBD oil. It just helped to decrease that discomfort. One of my friends, I mentioned that to him. He said, "Well, I'm sorry that you can no longer tell when the weather is changing." I'm like, I'm not.
Yeah,
But
I'm good. So are you you obviously said ointment. So I've actually used CBD oil on my knees. I've used it on my knees, and I've got, when I broke, I'll just say my foot, everything in my foot. I ended up getting really bad Achilles atrophy. And I use CBD oil or CBD ointment when I skate and when I do a couple other things. Are you, with the oil, how are you taking that? Because I know that there's different ways. Like you've got your gummies, you've got all that stuff. Like what other than the ointment, what else are you, or how are you using it, I guess?
so when I first started, I had the relief cream, and our relief cream penetrates 7 layers deep. I started with that on my left foot twice a day with my CBD oil. Now, honestly, doing the oil and the relief cream topically is going to be the best bang for your buck because you do the drops under your tongue for 98% absorption so that it takes care of fixing what's on the inside, feeding those CB1, CB2 receptors so that you can help everything internally while the relief cream goes to work at the site of your discomfort. You just have to be really careful. Not all CBDs are created equal. And honestly, if there's any more than 2 ingredients in them, you're wasting your time and your money.
Really?
Anything with MCT and coconut oil, that's just gonna serve to dilute your product. My oil that I share with others and promote uses hemp seed oil as the carrier oil and CBD. Those are the only 2 things. We find that the whole plant works better together, and hemp seed oil has its own health benefits. It's high in omega-3s and omega-6s. So it does stuff all on its own. I'm going to share, I had trauma to my right eye, and my eye hasn't closed since I had my 4th or 5th plastic surgery to open it. It doesn't close all the way. I suffer with dry eye. I was looking to possibly have to have another eye surgery. My eye doctor, about 12 years ago, 10 to 12 years ago, had asked me if I was taking fish oil because fish oil with the omega-3s and omega-6s helps with dry eye. I said, Doc, I've been taking 4,000 milligrams of fish oil ever since the accident. He said, oh, okay, if it was going to work, help you, it's already helping you.
It should have done what it's supposed to
Yeah.
do. Yeah.
And I said, okay.
It's like making out with
Well,
a fish. Goodness
yeah.
gracious.
Right.
I noticed though, with the CBD oil, I'm getting the hemp seed oil under my tongue at a much higher consistency, I guess, a more, it's just being absorbed into my body a whole lot better. Within 3 to 4 months, my dry eye was improving. I was using less of my liquid tears. It was amazing. I'm used to my vision getting worse every 6 months. And after about 8 months of taking the CBD oil, and because of the hemp seed oil in it, um, my vision was getting worse. I was like, oh, great. But I was like, I'm not using my tears as much, so my eye isn't as dry. What's going on? I go into the eye doctor. My vision had improved in both my eyes, and she had to decrease my prescription. That's why I was having problems seeing.
See, and I love it. It's such a, and the problem is with CBD is that everyone automatically assumes that it's THC. Like everyone automatically assumes, oh, if I use it, I'm gonna hop on a piss test or on a urinalysis on a anything, and it's not. And that's what the crazy part is. So my stepdad is one of those people. Grew up farm strong, upstate New York, doesn't use any medication, doesn't do anything. Well, over the past couple of years, he started losing his voice, and they weren't sure what it was. And he tried like 6 different types of steroids, and the thing that finally helped him was CBD. Like it was just able to relax. Like basically he was like having stressors on his vocal cords, and CBD loosened it to the point that he could start talking again and didn't need the steroids. And that's the thing. There's such a big bad image of it because everyone thinks they're going to pop on a urinalysis on a drug test. But
You have to be careful though, because there
Mhm.
are a lot of brands out there. I like to research other brands so that I can fully educate my clients and make sure that people don't pop on a drug test. So CBD oil, full spectrum, for it to be legally sold, it has to be 0.3% THC or less.
Yep.
Broad spectrum or isolate is what I recommend if you get drug tested at work, because our fat cells like to hold on to THC. So depending on how fast your metabolism is, after a span of 3 to 6 months, you will pop on a drug test with taking the full spectrum.
Yep.
Now, when I first started this journey, I researched 4 or 5 different companies at least that claim to be isolate or broad spectrum. And if you don't know to look at third-party testing just because it was at 0.3 or less percent THC, they claim to be broad spectrum or isolate, when in fact they did have the 0.03 or 0.08% THC in them.
That's
So if you do get drug tested for work, please make sure the oil that you're buying provides, you can find the third-party testing prior to purchase. Early on, a lot of companies didn't even supply third-party testing until after you purchased the product. And that's a huge red flag for me.
Yeah, just a little bit. Yeah, here, buy
Yeah.
that. We're not going to tell you what it is until you buy it.
You got
Yeah,
it.
exactly. And a lot of those companies didn't even have a money-back guarantee. The company that I'm with, we have a 60-day empty bottle money-back guarantee because our product works. It used to be a 30-day, but one of the founders went to the other founder and said, hey, this product works as long as they are instructed on the proper way to take it, and they take it as they are educated. This product does work. Let's make it a 60-day empty bottle money back guarantee.
That's so cool. Now,
Yeah.
what I get, because I don't know. I've never taken CBD in my life. Just not a thing. Just never. I know I have friends that have done it. Obviously. So what is it, like an anti-inflammatory side to it? Like what is it? What is it interacting with that it's bless you.
Thank you.
Every mammal, all of us have an endocannabinoid system, which means we have CB1, CB2 receptors within our bodies. This system was discovered in the late 80s to early 90s, and it's actually the largest system within our bodies.
Wait a sec.
So when
we're
this
supposed
system,
to take this stuff.
Yeah, so when this system is not working properly, none of the other systems in our body work properly.
Dibs, why did they keep us from? We could have been doing
Right.
other
So
cannabinoids.
right, but you think about it, and you think
noise.
about how destroyed our bodies were. Like, I mean, just if you think about that, like, oh yeah, no, you could totally use it to try to not feel like your knees are trying to go through your stomach.
Like it's
like
bone on bone every day. Yeah, no.
Yeah, no, you're good. That grinding, it's supposed to happen. But we could have been, and that's the thing. I get that times have definitely improved everything, but it's one of those things that kind of sucks because I think a lot of people do have that stigma that it's.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So it's.
Now,
Yeah. Could you imagine going to your command? Can you imagine going to your command and being like, oh yeah, I want to take CBD. Like, oh, okay, here's your dishonorable discharge. Have fun.
There's your general, other than honorable conditions.
Yep.
Have a nice day.
Yep.
So now Dibs has brought this up a couple of times about the stereotypes associated with it. You have so many things out there now, even if the state isn't got THC legal, they have the something 8. I don't know, remember what the name of it is, but
Delta
it's like a
8.
molecule. Delta 8. That's it. Like it's a molecule off. So people are always trying to find a way. And I think CBD, I know somebody who they were in a transportation related job, and every transportation job in the country drug tests, and somebody was like, oh, I wasn't taking marijuana, I was taking CBD. And hearing what you said, that adds to it. But the initial reaction within the company was, you're lying, you're full of it, this, that, and the other. How are you and Hope for Health, hopefornaturalhealth.com, and just that industry working to break down those stereotypes?
I am just blessed that my company educated me. I did all of the training from the PhD of medicinal cannabis right when I got started, because my brain, I got to know how, I got to know why before I'm ever going to use something. And I like to be able to educate others, even though a lot of my clients are like, I don't really care. Just give it to me. Tell me how to take it. I'm seeing relief. That's all I need to know, but we just need to educate. And that's something that our company does, is we educate, make sure that people know what they need to know. That's all we can do. And down here in Texas, I've got a friend that is really a big advocate for both marijuana and hemp being used for veterans, because he's a veteran, to be able to help them when they come back from the war, because it's all natural. I'm gonna, if y'all have Tubi TV, I want you to watch
Tubi. Yeah.
Tubi, Tubi, Tubi TV. I want you to watch God's Plant. It's all about CBD and marijuana. God wouldn't have developed us with this system within our bodies if we were not meant to consume and have this product.
I'm meant to consume.
I'm gonna go tell my command that. I'm gonna tell. Well, let's tell Master Guns. Let's see what
Master Guns Gagnon. If you're out there listening right now, we was meant to consume. I don't know why we kept arguing. But did you know that? And this is completely sidebar. The Marine Corps is actually the last branch of service to test in boot camp for marijuana and other drugs, because their mindset was, you're going to boot camp, you're not going to have that shit anyway. So why are we wasting our money testing for something that we're going to go ahead and get that out of your system anyway? Who cares? Like, oh, that's so great.
Random note, we had a guy pop in boot camp, and they're like, the level of THC in his system means that he was doing it in boot camp. And I'm like, good on you, man. Like, how did you figure that one out?
Congratulations.
But I mean, like, honestly, I mean, if you think about it, if you think about that holistic aspect of it, like the Motrin and water that you joked about and all that stuff, but why is it not something that you don't get when you initially go there? And they have you at least on your major joints. I mean, you're talking your knees, you're talking your, at a minimum, your knees and your ankles. Because, I mean, obviously there's a huge disability issue throughout the military. I'm sure you're familiar with it. I'm still fighting with it. But if anything, it's a CYA for the military. Like, yeah, it's not completely there yet, but still, to be able to have something that pure to at least somewhat help with feeling like you're 8,000 years old.
Now, is everything on hopefornaturalhealth.com, is it all just CBD, or is there other stuff? And folks, if you're listening to this and you think it sounds like an infomercial, I apologize. I just find the holistic stuff absolutely fascinating, because for years, it was hippie voodoo BS. And then somebody said, didn't your grandmother ever give you something that wasn't off the shelf? And I thought about it. And one of my closest friends called me maybe a year or so ago, because he wasn't feeling real well. He had a lot of head congestion. He was like, hey, man, what was that thing you told me about your grandmother gave you? Oh, whiskey and honey, and warm it up and then do a shot of it, and it'll clear your sinuses right out. He's like, thanks. That's what he went and did, and it clears your sinus. A shot of whiskey with honey in it. You warm it up and you shoot it. I promise you, it'll clear your sinuses right up. Just.
But there's a lot of that holistic, like big thing that a lot of
call it that though.
No, but there's a lot of people. I mean, if you look at it, there's a lot of things. A big one that still has really bad juju to it is chiropractors. There's a lot of people like, oh, chiropractors can't do anything. I'm like, no, I go to the chiropractor if I don't feel good. And I've watched a child with an ear infection get adjusted and be fine 2 days later. Like but it's so much. And like you were saying, with your body having the receptors in the system, it's one of those things. Everything's connected to your spine. You have those receptors. Your body's meant to use it. And it's incredibly sad that we got into what I would consider Northern medicine or Eastern medicine. Whatever.
Honestly,
yeah.
Honestly, the CBD oil, though, isn't just to help once you already have issues. It helps with workout recovery. It helps with so much, your muscles and your bones all working together. And we have many more products than just that. We're all about natural.
The answer to that is yes, Brendan. As a child, my grandmother, it was just a smaller shot. There's a reason that we use the term belly up to the bar on this show. That actually comes from the English term that as long as your belly could reach the bar, you were old enough to drink. That's where that term comes from. So tell me a little bit though, like what other stuff, because like I said, I think the holistic thing is fascinating and I really believe in it. So what other stuff could somebody find, or would you even personally, and I keep saying this because I don't want nobody coming after us, personally recommend?
So we have a whole system that works on gut health because there is so much connected to gut health. If you have a lack of focus, you aren't sleeping well at night, memory, weight loss, all of that, it all comes down to gut health. We have a whole entire weight loss system that just works on gut health, prebiotics, probiotics, plant-based protein powder. Amazing. Our pink drink is awesome. That has so many health benefits, and I'm talking on my phone here, but it's got things like yerba mate in it, guarana, so many different things that help with so many different issues. Helps to decrease your blood sugar, helps to regulate your blood sugar in your body, helps cardiovascular health, neuro health, whole bunch of different things.
So you bring up a good point there with your whole story and the neuro health. Like, how does that tie into your inspirational speaking? Like because obviously I'm one of those people that had to take public speaking like 2 or 3 times, and I still get super fun anxiety and all that stuff if I have to get in front of enough people. But I mean, I know that that's a big thing that I've seen with CBD and a lot of that natural stuff is helping bring down that anxiety. Like that's huge. Do you tie that into your public speaking? How is that tied in there?
Honestly, when I started doing the Hope for Natural Health, it was a way for me to be able to help people that are feeling lost and losing hope about the way they feel. Because these products that I take, which is more than just the CBD oil, they have truly given me my life back. One of my clients, I'm going to tell you a story. She had been unable to make a fist with her hands for over 4 years. She had been hearing a lot about CBD oil, didn't know what or where to find it, was kind of afraid to try it. She had overheard me talking to one of my coworkers when I worked in Waco about CBD oil. So she followed us and she said, "Which one of you knows about CBD oil?" And my coworker and customer pointed to me. And so I explained it to her and she said, "Well, I'm not there yet. A few months go by." And she's like, "Okay, nothing is helping me. I'm just in as much discomfort as ever. Nothing I'm doing is working. I want to give it a try." So she started with the relief cream and the oil. After 1 week, I said, "Barbara, how are you doing?" And she said, "Well, I'm able to make more of a fist. I bring that relief cream with me to work and I put it on my joints in my hand whenever I need it, but I'm not there yet." After 1 month of taking the oil and being on the relief cream, I said, "Hey, Barbara, how are you doing?" She looks up at me with tears in her eyes, holds up both of her hands just like this, and says, "Beth, you are my angel. I never dreamed I'd be able to do my job and no discomfort, and I am. Thank you. That right there is why I do what I do. It's just another way for me to be able to touch people and help them who have completely lost hope and don't feel like anything that they ever do, whether it's from the doctor or whatever they've tried, is ever going to help them to get back to living a happy life, living a fulfilled life, getting back to doing their hobbies and feeling great again. That's why I do this.
That's so awesome. Look at you, Beth. You are inspiring. Look at that. You know, two slobs like Dibs and I getting to hang out with somebody who's actually inspiring like yourself. I don't, Dibs, we suck. You know that, right, dude?
We do. So I got to ask the question.
Yeah.
Because I am on the, I decided Sean knows that I'm notorious for when we're talking that I try to look up some stuff while we're doing it. We're obviously coming up on Thanksgiving season. Following that is the Black Friday season. Do we have any cool Black Friday deals for you guys on the Hope for Natch?
We have been on day 3 of an 8-day Black Friday event going on. So follow me on Hope for Natural Health on both Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. Message me if you would like to be on my list. I can send you messages. I can text you each day. We're going to have a new 24-hour BOGO. We've got 5 days left. The CBD oil and the CBD products have not popped up. So just follow me. I'm posting that to all of my platforms every morning by midday at the latest. And you can go to Hope for Natural Health Daily Deals and you can see whatever 24-hour BOGO sale we have going on at that time.
Are we sneaking any CBD into the corn casserole?
No,
Yeah.
Actually, heat kind of breaks down the CBD, so you don't want to heat it up. So having it in brownies and different stuff like that is probably not the best idea because it's just going to break down the CBD and it's not going to be as potent.
I had to check that one.
So here's another super cool. Let's talk about something before. We can go with Nathan first before I.
Nate wants to know what your favorite comfort food is. We always talk about food around here. I told you it's going to happen, especially with Turkey Day being tomorrow. So Nate wants to know what's your favorite comfort food.
I'm going to have to say probably biscuits and gravy.
Oh, we would be best friends, Beth. We would so be best friends. I changed the biscuit and gravy game though. I changed it. Personally changed it. So, everybody, use Jimmy Dean or something like that. So back home in Baltimore, there's this amazing Polish company called Ostrowski's, and they make Polish sausage, kielbasa, and stuff like that. I take their regular kielbasa, like the big long kielbasa, and I cut it, and then I crumble that to make my sausage gravy for gravy and biscuits.
Okay.
And it's so fatty and sticky that it's perfect for gravy and biscuits. It is so amazing. And I can't tell you how many people have been like, you got to use like Jimmy Dean's or something. Listen to me. Ostrowski's natural casing, cut it open, throw it in there. It is a absolute game changer. But here's the other question I have to know. If you're gravy and biscuits, do you rip your biscuit and then pour gravy over it? Or are you a whole biscuit person and then cut it up as you're eating it?
No, you got to cut it in half and have it side by side and then put the gravy on it.
See, I'm a ripper. I rip mine into shreds to rip my biscuit up and then pour my gravy over. So it's already on fork-sized bites.
Okay. I'll have to try that next time.
You know what any of this is at all? They're Dibs. You know what we're talking about at all?
I'm not that northern. I got you.
I'm just saying, I can still remember having gravy and biscuits in the Marine Corps, and like the first time I had it, I was like, "This is gross." And then I found out they put Worcestershire in it, in the gravy.
It's
so gross. It's like
you gotta love those different takes. I thought salt potatoes were a thing everywhere, but no, it's just where I grew up.
That's an upstate New York thing. So, what was your question there, Dibs?
Talking about hemp, CBD, and stuff, on the website, there's actually something called HempWorks Pet. I don't think a lot of people, especially with big dogs, I have big dogs, and there's actually from what I see, a CBD joint stuff for pets. And I think have you experimented at all with that?
My dog Buddy had horrible environmental issues, scratching, draining from his eyes. And my ladybug, who was a little tweeny, had really bad anxiousness with storms, and both of them saw tremendous results with it. Buddy, for his allergies, I started them both out with a 250, but over time, our bodies require more CBD because we get more CB1, CB2 receptors developed. So Buddy did better with the 500 milligram natural. How big is your dog?
Big. I've got a Great Dane and I've got a Great Pyrenees. They're both close to 100 pounds at least.
I would say that you would probably be better with doing the 500 natural.
Okay.
And I have those. Yeah, I have all that information. Now, if you are someone who wants to purchase CBD oil and we get it on a BOGO, please reach out to me. There is a true science behind how to start. I would want to know if you've been taking it previously, so that I can help you get the most bang for your buck and save the most money and not waste your time.
Perfect.
So we're gonna get ready to close up the bar here and everything. I know Miss Beth told me her phone was set to only till 8 o'clock or 7 o'clock her time, 8 o'clock or 8 o'clock her time, 9 o'clock our time, before it allowed people to start harassing her again. And I know you all are seeing this Hope for Natural Health, and you're checking out Elizabeth McCoy Inspires all over the place. So you're going to be harassing her for all these things. But going to the back to the Inspire for a minute. Anything coming up other than, every week on LinkedIn, they can, and they all need to go follow you on LinkedIn. Go find Elizabeth and go listen to her. But anywhere, any like public things that are coming up, or somebody could go if they were out. Are you still you're in Kansas now, or back in Kansas?
I'm in Texas.
Still in Texas.
On January 28th, me and a friend are doing a growth mindset seminar. Where lunch will be provided, and basically it's going to be to help you to get in the right mindset to be able to crush your goals for 2023, maintain your resolutions, and just put your best foot forward to get through 2023.
Road trip. Dibs, road trip. I'll come up to Michigan in January to the UP to go.
Good luck.
It'll be all inspiring. That'll be inspiring that I drive the RV to Michigan in January.
Good luck.
Good luck and Godspeed.
Yes, indeed, sir.
Yes.
And obviously we've said it several times here. Hope 4 naturalhealth.com. You can find Elizabeth over there. You can find her on Facebook. You can find her on Instagram with that. You can, if you're interested in the inspirational speaking. What if somebody wanted to book you? Could they just book you?
Yes. Elizabeth McCoy Inspires on Facebook. Send me a message. Email me at elizabethmccoyinspires@gmail.com. If you have a group or an individual that you feel would benefit from hearing my story and some of the strategies that I have learned how to overcome and just be able to rise above all of the struggles and challenges, I would love to share my story and just provide strategies to help them to keep fighting.
Dibs, I just had an amazing idea.
This is scary.
I just had an amazing idea. You need to book Elizabeth for that crappy, shitty, what was it, the bumblebees or something like that? Revive the nest or whatever it is.
Revive the hive, the bees.
The hive, the bees that lost like 4. They went like 0-1,000 last year.
They won one. They won one, okay?
There was a mercy win. You could have Elizabeth talk to them about, like, look, you suck as a hockey team.
She could probably play better hockey than they could, so we're good.
I mean, we have a plan here. Look at that for the win, and look at that. You're going to start talking to horrible hockey teams, Elizabeth. Man, this is it's genius. I am a genius. Send Elizabeth in to talk to horrible hockey teams and fix her. We'll let you watch Shoresy, a couple episodes of Shoresy, and you'll be set to be able to talk to hockey players. That's one of like, you might not want to watch Shoresy. It's a hilarious show, but I don't know if you should watch it. You're too nice of a lady to watch Shoresy. I don't know. You'll be yelling at me. So, but look, folks, I want you to hear this story. Go check out everything Elizabeth has going on. Go see what's happening. If listening to what she said, I don't care if you're a faith-based person or not. I don't care anything about that. But if you don't listen to this and understand the strength of the human spirit to not give up, if you're somebody out there who's sitting there thinking, this is the end, the last thing I wanted to listen to was the silky sounds of Murphy's voice. And I understand that, listen to this mid-Atlantic just gurgle out. I understand that. But if you're in that world and you don't hear Elizabeth and go, maybe there is more, I don't know what to tell you. Like, this is, you truly have a story that, I think 90% of us would look at that and go, yeah, I'm going to either, if that happens, I'm going to, especially for adults, I'm going to drink myself into a stupor. I'm going to dope myself into a coma. I'm going to just be done with it. But you truly did rise up above this, and you are inspiring, Elizabeth. It really is. I thank you for being on. I don't know what else to say. It's super impressive. Did we really stop?
If anyone would like to catch my whole story, you can go to Elizabeth McCoy Inspires either on YouTube or Facebook. Episode 8 aired tonight, and I come on at 6:30 Central Standard Time every Wednesday and share more of my story.
That's awesome. Dibs, you're muted, FYI. I'm sitting there like trying to tell you.
That's the way my night's going. Either way, Elizabeth has 299 connections. I just requested her, so hopefully I get to be the 300th, and we'll pretend that I am, so that I can feel special.
Yeah, the inspiring 300th connection.
Absolutely.
So, folks, again, go give her a like, follow, share, Facebook, LinkedIn. I know you have an Instagram. Brendan says he really appreciates you for this, Beth. He's inspired by hearing you. So make sure you're giving her like, follow, shares. Go check out Hope for Natural Health. I'm going to check it out. See if I can find me some BOGO deals. I ain't never turned down a sale. Trust me. Even if I don't need some, I'm gonna have to go find some, see what I can figure out there. So make sure you're reaching out and doing that. If you're catching us, if you find us through Beth, please do us a favor. Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, give us a follow, give us a like, share. Our TikTok is the Above the Bar Podcast. Our Instagram is the Above the Bar Podcast. As we said earlier on, if your media sucks, go check out Media by Dibs on Facebook and on Instagram, and Andrew Dibble without an S at the end of it on LinkedIn, as we always say. If you're listening to the audio, I cannot tell you how much and how important it is to us and how much I appreciate you. If you go on to Facebook, or you go on to Apple, or you go over to Spotify and you give us a 5-star rating, you leave a good comment that you enjoyed this, you have no idea. It even helps folks like Beth, because somebody sees her story on here and says, oh, they gave a 5-star for when she was on. This meant something to somebody. It affects all of us. So we appreciate that. You giving your time to listen to us. What the hell was that?
Sorry. My awesome computer trying to do fun stuff. I'm having a night, man.
It's all right. We'll talk. But we are truly inspired by you. Dibs, you got anything coming up? How's the
No, I'm
snow
good.
doing?
We
What's the
we
snow
just got
report?
we don't what like actual snow or the snow.
The Gaylord snow.
Nothing. We just won 4-3 last weekend, and we're off this week for Thanksgiving, and then we're back at it next week.
So what's the record right now?
I don't even know, man. Not good.
It's
Not good. We're not good. We're fighting for it.
What?
We're fighting for it. So.
Oh man, what's my man Grix is not making it happen? Too many kids. He's too busy breeding.
There's a whole lot of people that are trying to be Chiefs instead of trying to be Indians. So
tell Miles I said stop having. Tell Miles I said stop having kids.
Right.
Stop trying to have all these kids every time I turn around. I feel like I see another baby reveal for him. Tell him knock it off. You'll be happier. And then you have it was January 28th or 26th there, Beth.
January 28th. It's a Saturday. It'll be from 11:30 to 5. The growth mindset seminar. So if you are it's going to be in Frisco, Texas. So if you are in the area, please check us out. It'll be on Eventbrite, and you can also see it advertised on my Facebook and LinkedIn personal page.
And next week's show, for those of you that catch us next week, we are talking with a gentleman named Noah Ark. It's Noah Ark, I promise you. And we're talking small online businesses. He has an online business where they do cards and stuff like that and gifts. So I'm really curious about people who have not like you're piggybacking, like Elizabeth's business is her business, but it's through somebody else's, but actually he's got an inventory and everything. I'm curious of people that are still doing online stuff like that and competing against the Amazons of the world on their own. So we're going to be talking about that next week. Now, as I told you there, Miss Elizabeth, you're not allowed to log off right afterwards because we have to talk for a moment. That's behind the stage stuff that you guys don't get to see someday. Oh,
I would like to thank you all for having me on tonight. I have truly enjoyed it. So thank you very much for this opportunity.
Absolutely. And if anybody out there has somebody they know that they think might be a good guest, might be a great person to have around, please make sure that you do that. Brendan, we can't wait to have you again here next week. But please reach out to us and let us know if you know somebody who you think would be a great guest, as we do on every episode. And you might have already done it, which we'll just make you do it again. The guest gets the last word there, Beth. So what is your final word?
I just hope everybody has a great Thanksgiving. And the biggest thing that has always gotten me through all of the struggles and the difficulties is going to bed with a thankful heart, thanking God for everything I have in my life. And something I didn't mention, when you are going through these challenges, do your best to pick out the positive pieces of each day. I promise you, if you focus on those positive aspects and continue to focus on those, they may seem small in the beginning, but it's just going to continue to grow. And there's going to be more and more of those positive pieces come together once you start focusing on the positive.
Alrighty, folks, be sure to push your stool in.
This has been an Earplug Podcast presentation, found on earplugpodcast.com, iTunes, SoundCloud, and wherever your favorite podcasts are found.